Welcome to our newly renovated standard rooms, and this is our standard veranda, our balcony, depending on if you're on the first floor or the second floor. It comes with 2 chairs and a table. And this is our double queen room. And as you can see, we have our standard herring artwork on the walls with a accent wall and the wooden bed heads, and each bed has a reading lamp, and those reading lamps have USB type A outlets plus a standard outlet on the wall for you to plug in any electronics that you may have. Rooms also come standard with a flat screen television as well as a desk, coffee maker / tea maker that you can use in the mornings if you'd like, and you also have coffee and tea available to you as well. And we also have a mini fridge for your convenience. Of course, we are AC room. This is the tropics, this is Jamaica, but we also have a ceiling fan for you available as well if you prefer, or you want to use both. And moving on to the bathroom area, I just wanted to point out that all of our standard room doors now are using electronic key cards, which we are very happy about, and just much more easier to use from a hotel logistics standpoint. Moving into the bathroom, this is probably one of our most proudest renovations. Moving into the shower area, we have the rainfall shower head as well as the handheld shower head. And the designer went into the details of putting the shower together with this color schemes, but also the practicality of it. And I just want to highlight some of those, and one of them being the shower drain as well as the shower heads, which you saw, which is all complementing each other. And of course, the shower amenities with the shelf for your convenience towards the back of the shower, and even where the shower faucet is, which is towards the back of the shower, which allows you to turn on the shower without getting wet. Moving on to the sink, it's also a black handle sink, which again just complements the design of the entire shower and bathroom, and it's all coordinated even with the room design. And as you can see, we have the towel hooks as well, which I really appreciate. And that in a nutshell is our newly renovated standard room. I hope you enjoyed it. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Sunday to you all. I hope you all are doing well. Had a great week last week, and I think we have a pretty good show in store for today. And it should be, I would say, a bit of a fun one. Not that I take any joy out of the topic we're going to be discussing today, but I think there's a lot of value to be gained, hopefully, from another cautionary tale that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And as always, I like to make this as interactive as humanly possible. Excuse me. So get your questions in as we go through, and let me know your thoughts on the discussion that we're going to be having today. And it's not something that, like I said before, I take any joy in talking about, but I think it's just so important to talk and discuss things of this nature, especially from a channel community that we've developed together that really encourages folks to invest in Jamaica, to move back to Jamaica. And I do this regularly, and in spite of stories of this nature, I still continue to believe like this is one of the greatest investing opportunities that you have, especially from a real estate perspective, is Jamaica. And I think it's one of the best time periods that we are living in to invest in Jamaica, to move back to Jamaica. But it's important to do it in the quote unquote right way, and in a smart way. And today we're going to be going through a lesson learned, and hopefully a lesson that you will not have to learn after the story that I share with you today. So as usual, please let me know where you are chiming in from. I already see it here. What city, what state, what country. I love to make these sort of connections with you all. I think it's very, very important to connect people in Atlanta, people in London, that sort of thing. I think it's really, really great and really special to have a community that's so international. Of course, I'm coming back from my Costa Rica trip, hence why we didn't have a stream last week. And then I just had my family reunion. I guess it ended last night / this morning. which was just really, really wonderful to come back from Costa Rica and then to go into the my family reunion, which was amazing this week. It started on Thursday, and our farewell dinner, if you will, was last night, and said goodbye to most of my family this morning. And it's just on that note, it's just like it's just so important that we do things like that and get together. And I was just so busy, and I'm so happy that I just literally put everything aside, my training, work that I had to do, and I just focused on enjoying the moment and enjoying the time that I spent with my family. And I think especially Jamaican families, so important, that we all build legacy within our own familial structure, and we teach the next generation the traditions and also show the importance of family, because we've been doing this officially since 1997. So we try to do it every 2 years, and we missed a bunch of years before we did it the last 2 years ago. And it was just like a real shame that we realized. But now it's in many ways, it's like my generation's responsibility, or at least a large portion of it is my generation's responsibility to kind of make this happen and continue to do so. So it was a lot of fun. So I just wanted to share that with you all. And I'm gonna I'll put some pics out there. I'll do the Costa Rica pics, and I'll do some of the family reunion pics as well. All right, let's go through some comments here, and we're going to get right into it. And for those watching this on the replay, which I know is most of you all, welcome to you as well. And please let me know where you're chiming in the comment, where you're chiming in from in the comment section, and I will do my best to respond, even though you are unable to make it with us here live. Punty, what's going on? Good to see you. Hi, Yvonne. Thanks for joining us. London Bay, blessings, everyone. Anik, Dion, hi, Throppers from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So nice to have you. Thanks for chiming in. Bellu Wellington, good afternoon, Throp and Throppers. Good afternoon to you as well. Donna Bryce, what's going on? Happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers from thunderstorm covered Ottawa, 39 degrees Celsius here today. Oh, wow. We've been getting rain every day here, too, for the most part. It doesn't last too long, but it was threatening before I came in the studio to do this live stream. But still, no drops yet. But it's probably coming. It's probably coming. So try to stay dry up there, Donna. Trisha Bromfield, hello, Throp and Throppers from East Hampton. Awesome. Strong Island in the building. Good to have you, Punty. You need to get those train lines running again in Jamaica, man. That would be amazing if we had a train system here. Awesome. What's going on, Joshua, man? Good to see you. Happy Sunday to you as well. Trishan, hi all from the UK. Blessings to you as well. What's up, Shauna? Good to see you. J Fitz, hi Throp and family, checking in from Atlanta, watching Chelsea destroy PSG. Awesome. I guess you're I don't know if you're a Chelsea fan or PSG fan, but kudos to you, Mr. Info. Good afternoon, Throppers. Hope all is well. Paulette, hi, New Jersey listening. Thanks for joining. Explore the world, chiming in from Toronto. Only me, MOK. Hi, happy Sunday, everyone. And Throp watching from Decatur, Georgia. Punty saying hi, everyone. Mr. Info is watching from Stonecrest, Georgia. Donna Bryce, so important to put connections with family as first priority. Absolutely. Love you, pics and videos. Thank you. Joshua says, with all the negativity around developments, as a developer myself embarking on this project, which you know about, how do I approach selling a unit on my development pre-construction? All right, we're going to get into that. I'm going to save that comment after we go through the greetings, just so I can get everybody. Great question, Joshua. Chairman, greetings. Chiming in from Obey. All right, we've got locals here. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Oren, hey, Throp, long time. I trust you are well. All is good here. Thanks for being on, Oren. Carrie, Loomfield, Connecticut. Just completed our relocation from Brandywine, Maryland. Awesome. Congratulations. Congrats. I hope it is all going well for you. And now Jamaica's your home. Julie for Justice, chiming in from Ottawa, Canada. Sharon Williams from hot Las Vegas. I can only imagine Las Vegas in July, what that's like. I've actually been there in July, and it was like over 100 degrees. Paulette says, hey, I'm new 2 months now. Well, welcome. Nice to have you. Claude, Fort Lauderdale, pouring here, pouring in Fort Lauderdale, cats and dogs. Hi, Throp, love the channel. Appreciate you. Maz chiming in from the UK in the building. Paulette Stevenson says, shout out to my daughter, Kimone. She's listening at the moment. Awesome. Nice to have you both. Peter V, a blessed afternoon to all from warm, sunny Southern California. I miss the beach views from your previous format. A lot of people keep saying that. We'll get back there one day, but no time soon. I'll take it out. I don't want to create any false hope here. We are doing studio sessions for now. And B. Hewitt, blessings from Orlando, Florida. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get to the story, but I want to get to Josh's question as he asked it. So just as a reminder, with all the negativity around developments, as a developer myself embarking on this project, which you know about, how do I approach selling a unit on my development pre-construction, right? So I think it's very doable. The thing is that there are so many developers who are doing this already, right? They're already doing pre-construction sales, and the demand is there. The demand is there. A lot of people already know this, and I think kind of shortly segueing into today's topic, there are folks that are seeing this gold rush, so to speak, who don't necessarily understand what it takes. And sometimes they bite off a bit more than they can chew. That happens a ton. That happens a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And there's a certain level of naiveness coming into this development and coming into this construction and coming into this real estate world here in Jamaica, and they underestimate a lot of aspects of these projects, and then they find themselves in financial situations that they can't manage, and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to navigate the rough seas, or didn't plan adequately enough. And sometimes these projects end up failing, or sometimes they turn into, like today, a bit of a nightmare situation. And you have that aspect. And then you also have just straight up unscrupulous people, just like any industry, any part of the world. There, where there's money, where there's gold, there are going to be snake oil salesmen, and there are going to be people who will come into this market and look to take advantage of other people, again, because the demand is so high. And we're living in this world where, and this was, before that, I mean, this is straight up talk about it, like even before this administration came into power, even before let's call it two wars that are happening right now, the two biggest wars, at least, that are taking place right now. We've been talking about Jamaica, and we've been talking about Jamaica being this great place and this great opportunity. And we were all saying there are great things to come. And now with these global events taking place, I think that the demand, or at least the eyeballs and the attention on Jamaica as a potential place to move in, as a potential place to invest, has just increased significantly. And so, again, you have both good and bad people seeing this, understanding this, and then those folks on the bad side are looking to take advantage of I would say, even some aspect of emotion, because there are a lot of folks, especially Jamaicans, who have been living abroad, who are part of the diaspora, who are looking to move back home. There are many folks who are also looking to speed up their retirement, or maybe speed up their move to leave. Let's say, just keep using America as an example, leave America for whatever reason and move to Jamaica, even as a young person, and somebody who's in their 30s or something like that, and would rather build a life here and build their career here than be and deal with certain challenges in America at this point in time. And so these timelines have moved up. And so Josh, what I'm essentially saying is, like, I don't think there is a demand problem, or will be a demand problem for you. And I think your question is more along the lines of the trust problem, right? And that
It's funny. You would think that that is a challenge for a developer, but I believe because the demand is so high, it's also not because, and that's really going to be the theme of today's podcast, today's live stream, which is really encouraging all you folks to do your due diligence. Like, it is so important. And as I always say, I could recommend the best of the best developments, the best of the best things that are coming down the line, and I will feed you with as much accurate information as humanly possible. But what you find on this podcast, it should be a data point to help you say, this is good for me, this is bad for me. And it shouldn't be, and this goes for anybody who you see on the internet, who you listen to a podcast with, or who's trying to sell you this development, or come check out this investment opportunity. You don't listen to them blindly. Absolutely not. You got to do your own due diligence. And going to an investment meeting or hopping on a call, it's a data point. It's not the end all and be all. And I would encourage you all to ask the hard questions of these developers, the awkward ones. And you got to get to a point, you should get to a point where you feel good about the investment, and you feel good about making your down payment. And it should be a joyous experience, especially if you fall into the category of moving back and retiring here in Jamaica. I mean, you worked so hard for your entire life. This is your golden years, and without question, like, you deserve to enjoy your retirement. You deserve to be home, essentially problem free, turnkey, moving into your home, as opposed to dealing with a nightmare situation. So, to answer your question very, very directly, Josh, I think on your part, in terms of building that trust, is transparency. And that word gets thrown around so much by developers, like, incredibly. And it's almost lost its meaning, at least from my perspective. And I'm on investor calls all the time. I'm in meetings, I'm in just one-off conversations, if you will, talking about investments and talking with developers, and that word gets thrown around all the time. And so if you can really come to the table, Josh, and especially now, like, you're doing this development, especially in a very unique way, and I don't think anybody in Jamaica is doing it the way that you and your partner are doing it. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a great selling point. But even sharing the process, and like when we were in London, you share the technicality of the project with me from a construction standpoint. And, like, I could feel your energy, I could feel your passion for this project. And I could tell that you want to do good for Jamaica, and that you want to do good by your tenants, by your investors. And I think sharing the process and sharing the journey and being open about it, I think that is, like, one of the best things that you could do as a developer. Also, again, using the word transparency, like, you're going to face challenges as a developer. Everything isn't going to happen on time, as planned, the way you thought it was. But don't try to deceive your tenants. Don't try to tell them something is happening that is not. And that's deception, and that's how you break trust. And that's how we find ourselves, a lot of developers and developments find themselves in these very silly binds that they can avoid by being transparent. And it's just like, hey, this thing that we're supposed to be, the road that we're supposed to be completed in October, don't tell them it's going to be completed in November. November comes around and it doesn't happen, and you keep kicking it down the road, and you yourself know this isn't going to be done in a year. And it's just like, man up, mature about it, be mature about it, and say, listen, things didn't go as well. The funds are so and so. Best case scenario, 12 months. And that's just the reality, as opposed to lying to people and continue to lie to people, and just not meeting expectation, not meeting expectation, not meeting expectation. And granted, this happens from the top all the way down. Remember, we spoke about the Hambani investment last month. I can't remember how many weeks ago. And the minimum buy-in for that was 1.8 million US dollars. And that was being managed by a public company that is well known, that has a great brand. Um, I would think, I would have thought, and they have completely botched that project completely. And I would encourage you, if you haven't seen the Hambani live stream that I did, and I got full permission by a one of the owners of a property there, who's unfortunately going through this very unfortunate nightmare scenario. I got permission to share his story directly and share the receipts and share the numbers and everything. And that didn't work out. So you don't want to be one of those guys. You don't want to be one of those developers, Josh. And you want to put yourself in a category of its own, because I'm sure that you don't want to make this the one and only project that you do. You want to be able to build credibility and to build off of your own name and your own hard work to be able to do it again. Because once you complete your first one successfully, people are going to be lined up. People are going to be lined up, especially in the unique way that you're doing it. People are going to be lined up. So, short answer is transparency, at the end of the day, and whatever challenges, and then commit to that as well. Commit to whoever buys your units and whoever buys the homes that you're building, and you let them know that, hey, this is a journey that we're going on together, and we're going to have some challenges, but I can commit to being extremely communicative with you and let you know if we do face any headwinds, that you will be well aware of it, and I'll do my best as your developer to navigate the storms that cannot and will not be avoided, because there are things that, as much as you can plan for, there will be things that you can't foresee, but it's how you deal with it, and it's how you overcome these challenges is the important part. All right, let's move to the story at hand. And so a lot of comments in. All right, we'll get back to the comments in a section. I'm just gonna kind of ignore the comments for right now, and I just want to hop right into today's topic. So I had. I'm gonna take a swig of Coke. Don't drink Coke. Coke is terrible. Soda's terrible. I need some energy today. I need some caffeine. It's been a long Costa Rica family reunion. Energy's a little low. So anyway, I had met these folks, and also I got permission to tell the story, by the way. I got full permission. I would never do this without I'm just saying this to say, like, I would never have a conversation with somebody and then come on the internet and just start talking about the conversation without getting their permission. So I got the permission to tell the story. I'm not going to say. I'll also say I'm not going to say the name of the development. And I told them that I wouldn't. I would obviously not going to say their name either. But it is a development on the North Coast. I can say that it's a development on the North Coast. And I met these folks. They are subscribers of the channel, and they are retirees that were part of the Jamaican diaspora living in the United States. And they were also, and what also kind of made me upset too, is that the lady, the wife, told me, she's like, I moved here because of you. I bought my house and home here because of you. You inspired me to move back home, which is amazing, and I take those sorts of stories and those sorts of inspirations that I've created with this channel and creating content. I take that to heart, and I thought that was awesome. And I was, and like, my first question is like, how has it been? How is it going? And she says it's been a nightmare. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? And then she's like, yeah, we bought into this development on the North Coast, paid our money. They actually live there. There's still construction going on. And it's been, in her words, it's just been a horrific experience. And they paid for something in the home, and in how the home was supposed to be constructed, and they didn't get it. And because they didn't get it, and they were going to, the developers were going to give it to them, but they had to move out, and it would be, they don't have anywhere else to go. And she asked, like, if I have to, if you're gonna, and I don't want to say what it is because it might give it away. So they were going to do this thing to the home that it was supposed to be done originally. And she's like, yep, you can do it, but you have to put me up somewhere. She has asthma, so she can't be there with the dust and everything like that. And you have to put me up for the amount of time that is needed to put this thing into the home. and they wouldn't accept that, right? They weren't willing to put her up. On top of that, they have water issues. They're not getting water. And they had to go out by themselves and buy their own backup tanks for this brand new development that was sold to them. This dream, that is, was sold to them to move in turnkey, ready to go. And that's not the situation. And they also told me that basically everybody is upset. All the tenants are extremely upset and very, very disappointed. And it sounds like they know how bad they have messed up and are messing up. And I believe they have another development. Let me just get my notes here. Oh yeah, I'm not going to say the name of the developers either. I'm not going to do that. And so the developers have told all of the owners, they told all their owners that not to post this on social media. And they are afraid that this is kind of how this works, right? And why you hear about these developments that go awry so late in the process. Because imagine, like, you have your life savings, you put it into a development, like you're retired, like you sold everything in the States, you're moving to Jamaica, you're moving back, and you realize that you've been sold something that is not really the way it's supposed to be. This is not what you were told. Like when they showed you the 3D renditions and they sold you the dream of this media and that video, and you're like you're getting in on this dream situation, and then and it ends up being a complete nightmare, and you're still kind of not out of it, right? Because the development is still under construction. There's still things that need to be completed, and the developer has convinced many of these folks that if you bring this to social media, if you shed light on this in a public way, this could bring down the value of the property. This could bring down the potential of you earning a return on your investment if you're doing it for Airbnb, so to speak. And many folks do that. Many folks do buy these homes as a second home or as a way to earn some income by renting it out and renting their homes out, which I think is great. And I think it's good. And so they use that against them. And then I think there is also an additional reason why like this doesn't come out is because sometimes I think there's like a bit of an embarrassment, right? There's a bit of an embarrassment with this situation where you perhaps have, honestly and straight up, like, you got duped, right? And you don't necessarily want that to get out, that you were kind of, what would I say? Like, you were finagled out of your money, you were tricked out of your money. Like, nobody wants to be known for that, no matter what. No matter how deceptive somebody is. Like, you don't want to necessarily say like this person or this group of individuals, these group of this developers have stolen all this money from me, or essentially got money from me without exchanging and giving me what I paid my money for. So you keep it down. You don't tell people about it. And so I think that's what happened here, and then also, like, again, let's hop back to Hambani, right? I knew about the Hambani situation minimum 2 years ago, maybe definitely longer, because my friend had bought into it. And Hambani was supposed to be this, like, the location in, maybe not Jamaica, but definitely Kingston, for sure. Like, one of the best locations, like super, super central, beautiful, however many thousands of square foot, super modern, new architecture, very contemporary, yada, yada, yada. And again, my friend, just like many, many, many other folks, worked very, very hard their entire lives to get to a point of affording their dream home. And for my friend, this was it. This was his dream home. He worked 30, 40 years, probably 40 years, maybe a little longer, to get to this point and to save up enough money and to do well in his business and do well in his life, to just be given the runaround and just to be unable to move into his house even 3 years after the move-in date was given. and I've said this before too, right? In that, and this is just an unfortunate truth and an unfortunate reality. And I was having this discussion with my brother like probably over a year ago, and we were just saying like collectively we know more about failed developments in Jamaica than we know of successful ones. And that's just the reality here. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with. I know about and doing this real estate, YouTube content creation game for almost 5 years at this point. I know of more failed developments than I know of successful ones. And I'm not saying I know every development that's out there in Jamaica. I'm just telling you, I could ream them off. And that's not good. That's not good at all. That's not good for the country. But I think there's a lot that we can do collectively to avoid these situations, to completely avoid these situations, and to make sure that either the incompetent developers or the unscrupulous developers don't get our money, and that we don't find ourselves in these nightmare situations. Because, and I was saying this, having a conversation with my cousins this morning about this, is like, is there recourse in Jamaica? Yes, yes. You can sue somebody, you can sue a company, but boy, how long are you going to be in court for? How long are you going to fight this? I mean, I'm sure we've all heard about court cases and lawsuits that are like 15 years, 10 years, like regularly, that finally comes to its conclusion. And you don't want to find yourself in a situation like that. And I always say, I think the best way to go about doing these things is to front load your work. Put everything, like put an extraordinary amount of effort in the beginning of making the decision to put that down payment and to understand who the developer is. And I always say, it's not the horse you're betting on, it's the jockey. Who is leading this? Who is the leader of this development? Who is the CEO? What are their pedigree? Have they done this before? And I'm not saying not to go with somebody who has never done it, but there has to be something that will give you confidence that this person is doing this for the first time. And there's something about them, could be whatever it is, that gives you the confidence to give this person hundreds of thousands of US dollars that you've worked very, very hard for. And I think some of these developers, they take advantage of the emotion of this. And the best way to go about in doing any type of investment, whether it's real estate or in equities, bond market, whatever it is you want to be unemotional about it. But sometimes it's hard. You have great pride in your country. You have great pride in being a Jamaican, and you have represented your country and Jamaica, Jamaica, abroad in other countries, in your work ethic, in your professional career, in going to school and graduating from college. Many of you, us, are the first generation of college graduates who have gone on to corporate America to start new businesses, whatever have you, have become very successful, and now are ready to come home in some form or fashion. And you might be dealing with a situation like this. No. That should never be the case. That should never be the case. But unfortunately, it is. So it is many times, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And so, again, bet on the jockey, not the horse. Ask your very, 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 very difficult questions. And if the person, the leader, doesn't want to give you the time of day to answer these questions, or they're like, I stay away. This is my own personal rule. It's like somebody's like super salesy. This could be the greatest investment in the world. I don't want nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Honestly, this is like one of the biggest red flags. And just go through your process. Try not to, again, kind of going back to the emotion, like try not to get emotional about it, but it's an emotional situation. You love your country, and like you've been looking forward to moving back and coming back for however many years. So I can see how it can be emotional. I think some of these developers take advantage of those emotions. And sometimes we go into things and we go into these developments without doing sometimes like the bare minimum, and don't fall for these fancy marketing videos. Don't fall for these fancy. I mean, you need to like it needs to be done. You know, I think it's very very important. Like as a developer, I'm not trying to knock developers. All developers are like I'm not saying that at all. And I just realized I forgot to plug in the camera. I hope it doesn't die. Let's see. Oh, no, we're good. So don't these marketing materials are very very important, but at the same time, it's like they could be beautiful and like selling you the dream, but it also has to make sense, right? It also has to make sense that this person that's in front of you, that they have the capability of doing this, and that you believe in that capability, and that you have gone to the point of asking all these hard questions that you have every right to ask, and you get to a point where you're comfortable enough to turn over that down payment. And then as things are going, and then this is if you're doing like pre-construction, so to speak, and as things are progressing through the construction standpoint, through the construction phase, excuse me, you'll also be able to see things, you know, and you want to be, and this is the hard part. I think this is the emotional part, right? That some people get caught up in. And I could speak for my friend, right, who Hambani. And even though as the construction phase was continuing with Hambani, it just kept missing. It just kept missing and missing and missing deadlines and thresholds that they set for themselves. They continue to set deadlines like October will be done. October, November, the roads will be in, whatever have you, right? And they missed the mark. But my friend kept giving money because it's his dream home, remember? It's his dream home. And all he wants to do is to be able to move into this dream home. And he doesn't want to do anything to hamper them from stopping construction and from stopping him from moving into his home. So he keeps giving over money. He keeps giving 50,000, 25,000. And this is US dollars, 100,000, 300,000. And he was never obliged to do that in the time frame that he did it in. But he didn't want to hold up the project. And he wanted to be able to move into his home. And they took advantage of the emotional connection that he had with this dream home of his. And still, he has not moved in there. And with this North Coast development, it's the same thing. They're taking advantage of people's emotions, and they're not being transparent, which we talked about earlier today, as Josh asked that great question. And they're not letting them know what's really happening on the back end. And they are indirectly saying, hey, if you put this on social media, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I'd like to hope that we can get away from that, right? And my personal belief is that with Hambani, because to me, there are so many parallels to be drawn from Hambani and this North Coast development. If 2 years ago, and my platform wasn't as big as it was today, but it still had some cachet. It still had some pull. And I truly believe if we had put out a video and we had brought this to light, the Hambani situation 2 years ago, if we had brought to light then, I think he would have been in his home right now. Honestly, instead of it coming out in the newspaper and people finding out that they're being taken over by another company, and you're going to be managed. And I think this could have been avoided. And I remember going there 2 years ago, and I tried to take out not even my camera, my phone to film. They were like, no pictures, no video, because they were so behind. And this, it's this big investment real estate company that keeps asking my friend for money. I was like, they got money problems? If they got money problems, like what am I supposed to do, right? It was crazy. So bringing it back to this North Coast development and these developers, I think it's important to shed light on this. And so I asked the couple who shared this story with me. Like I said, I got their permission, and I asked them. They don't want to kind of come in front of the camera. They don't want to do that, and I completely respect that. But they said there is somebody that they think who had bought into it that is more that they believe was willing to come on the platform and to talk about their experience. And so this is something that I'm trying to do. And I would love for them, if we can make it happen, to come on here and share their experience, their lived experience about what and this is not over. This is what they're going through right now and continue to go through. And I think we shouldn't be sweeping things under the carpet. It's 2025. This is not Jamaica in the 90s, 80s, 70s, or whatever. This is 2025. And we have a weapon, so to speak, and that weapon is social media, and is an opportunity for us to warn others, so to speak, about what is happening and what is going on. And these guys need to be motivated, and they need to know that they are going to be held accountable for doing things like this to good folks and to good people who did what they said they were going to do. You're charging me X amount of dollars for the home. Here you go. Please give me my home as you stated and said you would in all your beautiful marketing pictures and videos that you've created. Where is my home? And then things are not going well. You're not communicating with me with what's actually happening. And they're making threats. That's another thing that they're saying. They were making threats to some of these homeowners. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And I'm not one to be afraid to talk about these things. And I am also not one to be afraid to have those developers come on here and explain. And to me, the platform is for both sides. It's for both sides. And as I invite one, I would love to invite the other and say, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? Why do folks not have their home keys? Why do folks who are on your development, why do they not have running water, which was part of the deal? This was part of the deal that people pay hundreds of thousands of US dollars to buy your homes in your development that you sold them on. They're supposed to have running water. Why are people who are living there having to go out and buy tanks to have water supply to their home? Retired folks. And so I would definitely open that opportunity, if you will, the platform for them to explain, just as I would for folks who are going through a terrible nightmare situation, to come on here to explain to you all what their lived experience is. And the effort behind doing all this and the goal behind doing all this is to hopefully save others from going through this. And developers like this don't understand that they have a responsibility. They have a responsibility to Jamaica to come through on their promise. Because if they don't, this is a huge black eye on Jamaica as a whole, and definitely the Jamaican real estate industry. And we don't need that. We don't need that at all. And these guys need to be held accountable. And like I said, there is recourse. People can sue. You can go to court. But I've said this before. I've gone to court and sued somebody and felt like I lost. I only did it once, many years ago. It was a tenant that we had here, Travelers. Won the lawsuit, but still felt like I lost. And so that's what I was saying before. It's like you really want to do as much front loading with the amount of effort and work on due diligence on this development. Again, not the horse. And the horse is the development, the pretty thing. It's the jockey. It's the jockey. Who is the leadership? Who is this person at the helm? What's that team look like? What's that second layer look like? Do they have the skill set? Have they done this before? What is something about a conversation that you've had with them that just doesn't rub you right? That you're like, I don't know. Like, clear up that transparency, clear up that feeling, and get some transparency in there, and see if they will be transparent and help you get to a point where you're more comfortable, that and they understand why you don't like this particular aspect of the deal or of the development, and have them help you get to that point. If there's an unwillingness to do that, that says a lot. That says a lot. That says a lot. So go through your own process, and it should never be a situation where you feel as if, are you feeling some sort of time pressure? I hate that. I hate that. I really, really do hate that. And again, it goes back to this this emotion, and like and certain developers and principals are like creating this sense of urgency. If you don't get in now, you're gonna miss out. It's gone forever. An opportunity like this will never come around for another 100 years. It's not like that. It's not like that in Jamaica. And it's if there is a situation where a particular investment, a particular opportunity, just for whatever reason, it's just the timing is off for you, then let it go. There will be others. I promise you. I promise. I'm telling you right now from the seat that I sat in, there are so many amazing, great opportunities that are coming down the line, especially if you're looking for like a two bedroom unit, studio unit. Like if you're in that pocket of people who are looking for a real estate home, a real estate unit like that, so many coming. I promise you. I promise you. So there shouldn't be any sort of time pressure. And if the principal, if the CEO or whoever it is like it's saying like this is going away soon. This is going away. Like there's something. Just pause. Just pause a little bit, and maybe you're ready. And maybe like even if they are saying that, maybe you're ready. Maybe you've done your due diligence and you're comfortable. But just get to that level of comfort first. Another aspect of the story that I think is very, very important to share is with the retired couple who bought into this North Coast development that is a complete nightmare for them is also their lawyer. It's also their lawyer. And the wife was telling me that the lawyer has been a nightmare. And she almost feels as if the lawyer and the developer are somehow in cahoots. And the way she explained it, I was like, I would not be surprised. Because it didn't seem as if she had somebody on her team fighting for her and fighting for her rights. And that's what your lawyer should do. And again, going all the way back, like from the first question that I asked her, and when she told me she moved here because of me and she bought this home because of me and the content that I create here, that upset me. And then it also upset me that she got this, and I have the lawyer's name too, but we're not going to do that. Not right now. She got this, I'm trying to use politically correct words here, kindest possible words. She got this bad lawyer, this lawyer who is not somebody, in my opinion, at least the way it was explained to me, that has their best interest at heart. And she was like, do you know anybody? I was like, of course I know somebody. I know many great lawyers and specifically great real estate lawyers. And I gave her that was probably the biggest thing that she got out of the conversation was that like she was just very thankful that I gave her a good lawyer that I know will do right by her and just forget about the lawyer that she's using. Very, very important. And on this part of the hopefully lesson learned that we can have here, I would encourage you all to you have to have like a little bit of a team here and like a group of people that you can trust. And part of that team, if you're going into real estate, that is having a good lawyer, having a good real estate lawyer. And they should come highly recommended. And they should, off the bat, like you should feel good. You should feel like this person got my back, and that at least you have somebody boots on the ground is going to go fight for you if need be. And I remember when my brother was buying his first unit here in Jamaica, apartment unit, and at the time the banker, I'm not going to say the name of the bank or banker, they were basically dragging their feet on the loan. And it was like some simple paperwork, like something's very, very simple. They're just like holding up the process. And I remember him telling me like, oh, the lawyer got on the phone and just started getting at the banker about this and just how to like drape her up on the phone, that is, not physically, but drape her up about doing her job. And like, you want somebody like that in your corner. Like, you need that. You need to have somebody like that in your corner, because not everybody, as you probably can already guess, is sometimes we don't really have the most efficient processes here, and we don't work in the most efficient ways, and people drag their feet. A lot of people drag their feet here. And you want somebody to either light a fire under those folks, or if there's something that goes the wrong way or is going the wrong way, that somebody's going to come around and fight for you and rectify the situation as quickly as possible. And the folks on the other end of that phone know that you're not playing around and that your lawyer's not playing around. And so, ensure as best you can that you have folks like that. And like, that's why we have this platform, and I know everybody can't catch every episode and every live stream, but I've gone through so many trials and tribulations, if you will, from construction to legal situations to accounting, real estate people. Like, and this is why and how we have ThropX, is because I'm bringing together the best people that I know, that I have worked with, or that have come extremely highly recommended. So you don't have to go out there and learn a lesson the hard way like these folks are doing right now, unfortunately. And I'm speaking specifically about the lawyer at this time. And to me, that's, if you're part of this community, like, hopefully that doesn't, I mean, unfortunately it did happen, but hopefully we can do as much as we can to avoid a situation of that nature, right? And if you're doing something in construction and you need a recommendation for a construction company or an architect, like, oh my gosh, we got them. Quantity surveyor, like, we got them. Like, these are good, solid folks that I work with. And that's why these folks I invite back to ThropX every year. And I hope they're making tons and tons of money, because they deserve to be making tons of money, because there are so many other people out there who are not doing their job correctly and are not doing their job in the best interest of their clients. And so if we can circumvent or create a circumvent situation where folks don't go to the scammers of the professional world, let's say, and they come to the good folks, and the good folks deliver on the service and professionalism that they had promised and continue to do so. And then you all who are trying to build a home, to buy their dream home, to move here, whatever have you, you do it in a seamless way because you're working with the best, because you're working with the most trusted. And this is not a situation that you want to come down and gamble with, even though by its very nature, this is a gamble. Nothing is guaranteed, but you want to set yourself up as best as possible to create a reality of success for yourself in whatever way that looks like. And working with the right people is a very important and big part of that equation. And ThropX. And I want to say, like, yes, it's a plug, but it's also the reality. 100% a reality. There's nobody that I'm going to invite to this conference that doesn't have the pedigree, that doesn't have the relationship and trust that I have. I'm not saying everybody's perfect. I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but I'm damn sure doing my best to vet each and every single person that takes that stage and that is divulging and giving you and empowering you with knowledge and information. That's for sure. Because experimenting with a lawyer or a developer, and I get, again, this is, you have to take risks. I get it. And everything is not going to be perfect all the time. You have to take risks. But like, how can we mitigate these risks as much as humanly possible? And I think a big way of doing that is working with the right people and sifting through and making sure you get the right team members on your team, because you're going to need a team when you're down here of professionals in some way, form, or fashion. And you can avoid a lot of these things by working with the right people. And you can, we do, and even leaving it up to ThropX, like what we're going to be doing with our email list is to doing profiles on these folks. And this is free stuff. Like, I'm doing this to like make sure that as much as I can, like make sure like there's not a situation that these folks are going through. And it's like just, and I think about it, if it was just like one step to the right or one phone call, or maybe if they had watched this podcast or they got this newsletter, they would have seen like, oh, you recommend this lawyer, oh, you recommend this contractor, and you avoid, I wouldn't say a lifetime, but maybe 5 years, 10 years, or however many months that you've even gone through at this point of headache and of a nightmare that you shouldn't be, and you should be enjoying life, and you should be enjoying your retirement and going about your business. But now they got to deal with this BS. For how long? I don't know. I don't think it's, and I told them this. I was like, I don't think this is a situation where this is going to be some sort of complete failure. I don't think so. But nonetheless, you've been put into a situation and circumstances that you didn't sign up for. And you paid your money. You did your job. You were a person, a couple of their word. And these folks are taking advantage of that. And that's not fair. That's not cool. It really, really isn't. It really isn't. I also look to, and we've discussed this before, the White House Beach Club development on the South Coast. I mean, another borderline failed development. It's a mess, complete mess, but it's along the same situation, along the same lines, But those folks, and the reason why I can talk about this is because, again, I talked to, it's so funny how like information comes across, but like some subscribers came here, stayed at the hotel. We had conversation and they were telling me about the experience at White House Beach Club. Nightmare situation. But what they were able to do is they got together as homeowners and as property owners of this beach club, and they formed an alliance, yes, but now they have a body that can fight the situation. They're essentially taking over the property, if you will, and making sure that they get what they paid for. And then things there, and speaking with them, it's actually a younger couple. Speaking with them, they actually have confidence in the new plan and the new way forward. But again, those folks didn't buy into this very high-end beach club development in White House to formulate a legal body to fight the developers to do the job that they were originally supposed to do in the first place. Nobody does. Like you come to development, you pay your money, you should be able to move in, right? But again, this is a situation, a scenario, reality where, like I said, I know of more failed developments in Jamaica than I know of successful ones. And like I said, I don't know every single development that took place in Jamaica, but damn, there are a lot of developments that I know have failed and just didn't make it. Our people continue to find themselves in a very precarious situation of, do I say something? Do I not say something? They didn't get what they paid for. And so it's some sad situations. So, I will, no matter what, I'm going to continue to talk about things like this and things of this nature. And I try to keep things positive on this channel as much as I can, but we got to talk about the hard stuff too. I mean, I can't be out here encouraging folks to move back, encouraging folks to invest in Jamaica. And when a situation of an investment or a move back doesn't go according to plan, that we don't talk about it. We have to, absolutely have to. We got to show the good and the bad. We got to show the reality of the situation. And so, like I said, we have newsletters coming out, and we're going to be doing features on many of the folks who are going to be speakers and panelists for ThropX. But it's also a way for you to contact and reach out to these folks because they're professionals that I personally have vetted and have worked, and many of them, most of them, I have personally worked with, whether through here at the hotel or with my media company. And these are the folks that I trust, and I extend that trust to them for you to hopefully work with them if you need their services, that is. So you can sign up for the newsletter at thropx.com, and you can continue to just get more information. We're going to be doing weekly newsletters. We sent out the most recent one last Thursday, I believe. So you'll be getting those in your inbox. You can sign up for it, and it's just free information to have. And we do, we do properties that are for sale as well. So if you're interested in that, maybe there's a property that you could be interested in investing in, but at least do it for Hey, I need an architect. Hey, I need an accountant. Just go back to the newsletter. Contact information is there. So you can sign up at thropex.com and you can learn about what's happening with Thropex coming up. A lot of comments here. I am probably not. There's no way I can read through all of them. But Darnell, how much to super chat to get the developers? I can't do that right now, Darnell. I won't. I won't say the developer's name because they. As bad as it sounds, and the proof is in the pudding, right? Development is not complete. People didn't get what they pay for, and it's not a situation where I'm afraid to get sued or nothing like that. Like, nah, I'm telling you the truth, what's happening, the reality. Anybody can go there and see that, damn, this is what's going on here. You don't have water, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna divulge that information. Um, I'm not gonna divulge that information right now. Garth Adrian says, "What area? St. Thomas? No, this is on the North Coast. This is on North Coast. This is not that far." All right, let's go through some comments here. We love your Jamaica and want to see successful contractors and return Jamaicans who want to live in Jamaica. Ann Smith, realistically, buying a home should not be a hit or miss. Now, if you are buying real estate or investment, it's a different story. Customers buying a home in our homeland continue to speak up. Yes, I think that's so important. Like, please speak up. Please shed light on this. When if you're somehow maybe let's do this. Let's say if you're for somehow by some stroke of luck here, if you are one of the folks that are part of this development, I mean as an owner, as a unit owner, and you're open to talking about this, let me know. Like email me throp@thropmedia.com and maybe we can get you on here. Or maybe somebody who is invested on the North Coast and you're like, hey, could this be the development that they're talking about? Like, send them this live stream. Send them this live stream, and maybe we could have them on. Maybe we could have a few folks on. But I think this is one of the strongest things that we can do is like shed light on this. I would love to have any of these folks on here, at any time. Marcia White says, working with the people who deliver, I'm consistently being told that they know the builder. My answer stays consistent. No, sir, sticking to qualifying, person taking no chances. Yeah, person. And you got to have that mindset. You got to be super, super disciplined on that, extremely disciplined, working with the right people and, doing as much due diligence as you possibly can, of course, on the jockey. Again, at the end of the day, with all of this, it's like you're betting on the jockey. Who is that CEO? Who is the leader? Who's the leader? What does that leadership team looks like? What do they look like? Do you really believe in the messaging that the leader is giving you? Is he BSing you? Is she BSing you? Are there do the numbers not add up? Or do you not understand the numbers? And don't feel as if if somebody's making a pitch or they're going through telling you about the development and for some reason you don't get it. It's like, hold on, pause. Sir, ma'am, I don't understand this portion of the Excel spreadsheet. Could you slow it down and explain it to me again? And they should have no problem in doing that. And we are all different levels of understanding with numbers, understanding Jamaica, understanding real estate. And it's that person's job, the developer, or the leadership team to be able to take the time and explain that to you and to get you to a point of comfort. And once you get to that point, then you can move on. But don't feel as if you're going to ask a stupid question or that this is a stupid question or that you feel you should get it because everybody else gets it. Like, no, if you don't get it, you don't get it. And go back and ask them to re-explain it. And if they need to explain it 10 times, then explain it 10 times. So get your questions answered and get to a level of comfort that you feel like, and that's your right as a potential investor. That's your right as a potential homeowner. Georgina Jarrett says retirement in Panama seems looking more enticing these days instead of dealing with our people. I mean, I always say invest as much as I encourage people to invest and move to Jamaica. is like, do what is best for you at the end of the day. You shouldn't feel limited to Jamaica. You shouldn't feel limited to the United States. And I always encourage you all to do your respective due diligence around the world, globally, or unless you're set on Jamaica, that's fine. But you should be able to compare apples to apples. Compare not just Panama, but other Caribbean islands. Like, especially if you're coming in from the investment standpoint, do the numbers make sense to you? And even outside of this, there are great. I think there are great developments that are coming on board right now. And I also feel, as I kind of hinted to earlier, there are so many great opportunities, especially here in Negril, especially here in Negril. They're coming. I can't talk about them. Can't talk about them right now, but you will hear. You will hear. I mean, and fingers crossed, hoping to have a really amazing one for ThropX this year. And it's coming. It's interesting times all around for Jamaica, but very, very interesting times for Negril in a big, 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 big way. And these are the right jockeys. Let's put it that way. These are the right jockeys that I believe, and I've sat down in meetings with these folks, and it's multiple people from different parts of the world who are doing this. And I've sat down with these folks, broke bread with them, and great visions, great team, great experience. Also, you can't really tell what's in somebody's heart, but so far, I believe they mean Jamaica well, because there are a lot of folks who are coming in here that are just kind of just doing this grab. This is kind of what I'm afraid of, right? There's folks that don't really care about Jamaica, so to speak, but they care about the money, and they're just like coming in, get out, coming in, get, like, just take what they can and leave, or they just continue to take what they can, and not give back and not really care about the development of Jamaica. And in a way that, like, that's okay, that's okay. But I would also rather it be Jamaicans who are investing in Jamaica, who care about Jamaica, and who don't necessarily care just about themselves and their family, but other Jamaicans and the next generation coming up. At least, it's a little fluty or whatever you want to call it. But those are the type of investors that I appreciate, that have roots here, like strong, strong, strong roots here. So there are opportunities of that nature that are coming on board. And I say that to say, like, especially now, don't feel like this pressure to get into certain situations that are like once in a lifetime. There's nothing that I'm seeing out there right now that if you miss out on, there won't be another better one down the road. There is not one project like that I feel. Not one. So there's great stuff coming down the pipeline with great jockeys, with great jockeys. And I can't wait to tell you all about them. And if you come to ThropX, you're definitely going to hear about them. And you're definitely going to hear directly from those folks who are doing these developments. And I'm very, very excited about that. I'm very excited that, again, hopefully it hasn't been confirmed, but it's looking good that we can get some of these forward-thinking, progressive developers that are going to be coming to ThropX, and not promising anything, but maybe they'll give like an exclusive deal on some of these opportunities. But Georgina, if you feel like you want to go to Panama and do it, I say if it makes sense for you, yes. But I can tell you the upside here is far greater than Panama. Panama ain't cheap. Panama is not cheap. But if you read my newsletter last week, I actually talked about Panama, and I drew a lot of conclusions. I drew a lot of parallels from my experience in going to Panama twice. So I went to Panama, I think it was like 2008 or something like that, and I went back in 2018. 10-year gap, whatever the years were. And I remember going into Panama City. You have to go across this like very long bridge from the airport. And like as you're driving in on this very, very long bridge, you see Panama City. And when I went in 2008, there was a skyline of cranes, just like building. I'm like, wow, I've like never seen this before in my life. And that is like a huge economic indicator that a lot of macroeconomic economists use is the amount of cranes that are being rented in a city or a country that are up right now. It just shows the health of the real estate development industry. And as far as I can see, there was cranes like crazy in the sky. And then I went back 2008, 2018, 10 years later, and I'm taking that same drive in. No cranes, the most beautiful city skyline. And going in and walking around, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like a really super developed city. And it made me realize how just crazy, like the crazy amount of development that could happen in 10 years in like a short amount of period, a short amount of time. 10 years, it just turned into this incredibly developed city skyline. And I look at and feel like Negril is like in the same kind of early birth situation, right? And and we're not looking to get a city skyline or anything like that, but like the amount of private sector and also public sector investment that is in the pipeline, that is coming here. Unbelievable. Like really, 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 really exciting time. So I say that to say it's like, I won't say we're Panama City, 15 years ago right now or anything like that, but I will say it's still early days. And of course, if you're investing early on something like that, you just have more opportunity on the upside to just increase in value. Abino says, "What was the name of the North Coast name?" No, I'm not revealing that. I'm not gonna reveal that until I get like the permission to do that by the folks. I promised them that I wouldn't. Um, Hopefully, I could get somebody, uh, a unit owner that's part of this development to come and talk on this on the podcast. Mark Five coming in late from Brampton, Ontario. Big up to all the Safford travelers. My wife and I had a great stay last week. Awesome. Was great to meet you, Throp. Keep up the great work and information. Thanks. You got it. You got it. Oren says it's very unfortunate, but it seems like the most reliable set of developers are really the Chinese. They are more serious about their business and fulfillment of their obligations to their clients. I mean, I watched a video, not going to say the name of the Instagram handle, but it was a African American gentleman who was at a Chinese development construction site and just putting out like just negative connotations out there about the Chinese and this not being right. I'm of the opinion, like I think it's good what's happening. I think it's good that we have the Chinese doing development. I think it's good that we have the Chinese doing our highways because they do a good job. Honestly, they do a good job. And it's putting pressure. I would hope and think that it's putting pressure on local developers to freaking perform. That's what competition does. It forces you to become better at what you're doing. And if you're doing BS and somebody comes around that's not doing BS, that can do what you're doing best, faster, cheaper, and on time, you better step your game up or you're going to go out of business. And I always use the analogy of the hotel industry, specifically here in Negril, where Negril, if you don't remember or don't know, was a sleepy fishing village. And many of the small hotels weren't traditional hoteliers. And they grew into and evolved into becoming, many of them, great hoteliers through experience, not going to school for hospitality or coming from a lineage of hoteliers from grandparents being passed down. That's not or wasn't the situation for many hoteliers here in Negril. My family included being a part of that. And so as more and more international hotel brands started to come to Negril, we were forced to get better at what we are doing. as hoteliers. We were forced to give global standard services to our guests. And I always go back to food. I always go back to the soon come notion of waiting for your food in the grill. And I could tell you when I moved here in 2006, and of course before that, waiting for your food for 45 minutes or an hour in the grill was normal. Very, very, very normal. And as more competition came into play, hotels and restaurants and otherwise came into play, that continued to go down the path of no longer being acceptable. That you cannot wait for your food for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, unacceptable. And it was driven by competition. It was driven by the international community of hotels that started to come to Jamaica. And it's the same thing. Like, if somebody is going to come to Jamaica and stay at an international hotel, whether it's an EP or an all-inclusive, and they can go there and get their food in 20 minutes when they order, or they can come to another hotel that doesn't have that type of efficiency and wait for an hour for their food, they're going to continue to go to the big brand. And that forced us to get better. And now, you're getting your food in 20 minutes or whatever have you. Of course, things happen, but for the most part, you're getting your food at international standards in terms of time. And that's what competition does. And then same thing in terms of the amenities that hotels have to offer, the decor, all of the small hotels in the grill, the ones that are doing well, they're all, travelers included, they're reinvesting in their properties. They're investing in their people and having better service and making sure that they're giving more of the best authentic Jamaican experience possible, because we can't compete with certain hotels on price and amenities. Like, some of these hotels have like 5, 10 restaurants. We don't have that. Travelers don't have that, and you got to think, how else can you compete? And one of the main ways is giving an authentic Jamaican experience that you just can't get at the big guys. Let's say, won't name names here, but even in doing so, got to meet international standards of service, got to meet international standards of quality of food, and competition has forced us to do that. Moving back to construction, same thing, boys. Same thing, guys. If you're going to be in construction and you're going to be in development, you're now not only competing with Jamaicans, but you're also competing with foreign national groups as well. And some of them happen to be Chinese, and some of them happen to be very good at what they're doing. And I think it's good. Let's look at even I don't remember. Some of you folks may remember, I think it was early this year or late last year, with the Chinese auto shop in Kingston. And there were people sleeping in their cars overnight, waiting for their cars to be looked at by these Chinese car garages, because they are so good at what they do. Cheaper prices, better service. Cheaper prices, better service. It's like, why would you go to somebody that's going to charge you more and give you a worse service? Doesn't make any sense at all. And so anyway, I say all this to say, this gentleman who was on Instagram saying that this is bad, that the Chinese are here. I don't believe that. I think it's a good thing. I also think it should be a wake-up call. It should be a wake-up call for us as folks who are competing directly with them. And hopefully we're up for the challenge more than anything else. And we as Jamaicans are up for the challenge. And I also think it's a wake-up call in the sense that they see something in our country that perhaps some of us don't see and are unwilling to step up and be a part of, as far as seeing an opportunity here. And for a long time, Jamaica was seen, at least as far as I've been doing this, I think the tide is slowly starting to change, literally in the last 6 to 8 months. But for the most part, for the most part of me doing this podcast, these live streams, there was more of a negative connotation stereotype affiliated with investing, living, and moving to Jamaica. And I always said it was complete BS. And I think now folks are finally starting to see that it's not, because other folks who are not us are seeing and are investing far more than we are. There's something they see in Jamaica. There's something they saw even before all the hotness and the thrills of investing and being in Jamaica. They saw this a long time ago. I saw it a long time ago. And so, again, I hope it's a wake up call for us to continue to invest in Jamaica and looking for opportunities, And I never wanted to be or turn into a situation or turn to reality where, especially Jamaicans who are here, period, Jamaicans, period, but Jamaicans who are here, Jamaicans who are abroad, who are thinking about investing in Jamaica, that they are unable, or maybe not. I don't think there'll be a reality that they'll be unable to, but it's definitely be a reality where it's going to cost a pretty penny to get in, and that's something that I am always concerned about and is at the forefront of my mind as it relates to as Jamaica continues on this upward trajectory. And man, we're on the rise. There's no doubt about it, at least not in my mind. All right, let's go through a few more comments here. I gotta go plug in my camera in a second because it's gonna die. I forgot to plug the power cord in. Caribbean Queen, what's going on? Thank you for looking out for people. Thought you got it. Map says you have a platform and people are spending time watching your channel. Call out the developers. No need to have a platform if you are protecting developers and the lawyer. I'm not protecting nobody. I'm not protecting nobody, but I'm also not an idiot. I'm also not somebody that wants to get sued. And so I think with these things, there's a way to go about doing it. And again, look at the Habani situation. I sat on that for over 2 years. I knew what was happening, but I am not gonna. It's like a journalist giving up their sources. You know what I'm saying? Once you do that, or once you have a reputation of like, oh, if you sit down with Throp, he's gonna sell you out. Nobody's gonna come to me with information because he's gonna go on his live stream and start talking about it. I mean, that's everything. Once that goes out the window, forget about it. Nobody's going to tell me no inside information and give me no heads up on anything. So it behooves us as a community for me to be smart and strategic and timely about when I divulge certain information. Again, Hapani, I knew 2 years ago. Plus that this thing was a sham, that these guys either didn't know what they were doing and they were in over their head, or something else is going on. But I had to wait. I didn't have the permission of my friend, and I had all this inside information. And so when I get the green light, you get the green light. So I won't be divulging that information. What's up, Face? Face says, Face Off One says, too much scamming going on in Jamaica at the highest level. My partners and I just experienced this with an architect. Yes. And it's really, I hope I'm not here to say this to scare you, but at the same time, I hope it does scare you. I hope it scares you into taking your time to build your team. I hope it scares you into doing research. And maybe my platform is one of those elements of your research and figuring out who you should work with. I hope it scares you into coming to ThropX. I hope it scares you into signing up for our newsletter that's free and learning from others' mistakes and not coming on here and being one of these stories that I tell on a live stream, and I hope that that's a situation. And like, look at Face, this is an architect, right? Somebody who went to school, who studied this and who studied architecture and is part of a close-knit community. And I know architecture, and I know of there's another architect situation, not yours, Face, where, oh man, I want to talk about this so badly. And this guy, literally, like, I went to his Facebook page. It's like literally, I I want to say 650,000 US dollars stolen from another friend of mine, architect. You got to look out for these sort of folks, man. Like, scamming at the highest level of professionalism. Like, and you would think that they have the degrees, that they've done this project, they've done that project, they're not going to screw you over. It happens. And these are two situations that I know of. I know of Faces, one, he told me about it before, and I know another friend that I had a bad situation with an architect. You got to be careful. And like, that's, and I got the plug on architects. I got the plug on architects. And it's a very close knit group of people. And that's why I said, if you need a recommendation, holla at your boy. And like, I mean that sincerely. I mean that sincerely. And it's just like, I don't want you folks going through a situation that could be avoided by shooting me an email, shooting me a DM, or signing up for our newsletter and reading an article or reading a blurb on this great landscape architect, reading a blurb on a quantity surveyor that some people say it's too expensive to be part of the project. And then you get your shirt taken by a foreman, or you get your shirt taken by a construction company because you didn't have somebody watching your back and watching the numbers for you. And these are sort of lessons that I want you to learn through story and not through experience. So one way, continue to watch the content that I put out here and watch this space. We got a lot of great content coming out. Sign up for the newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. And if you can, and like, you, depending on where you are on your Jamaica journey, and if you can make it the ThropX in November, definitely recommend it. Especially if you're ready. I always say come to ThropX with your checkbook, because there's going to be opportunities there for sure. And more importantly, you're going to meet some really incredible folks. Not necessarily, yes, the panelists and everything, yes, but it's the folks who are attending ThropX in a way that is worth its weight in gold, because this community, I say it without apology, freaking solid community. And I'm very, very proud of this community that we built together. And I know many Throppers and people have come to ThropX, both ThropX London Connect that we did in April, and then ThropX coming up here in Jamaica in November. There are lifelong relationships that have been formulated. And these are personal relationships and also business relationships. And I always like give the example, like this is such a great example of the quality of folks, the quality, the premiumness of the folks that are coming to this conference. 2 years ago, two ThropXs ago, a bunch of strangers who came to this conference, who were part of this very same community that you are part of. We went on our real estate tour. We visited a hotel. The hotel was being sold for $3 million. And I was like, $3 million. I don't got $3 million burning a hole in my pocket. And then Moira Watson, actually, she's one of the great real estate agents that I work with, great real estate professionals that I work with. She had said, hey, if 30 of us get together, we each put in 100,000 US, we can buy this property. And guess what those strangers did? They came together, all cash deal, and they bought the property. And those folks came from this same community. And strangers that became friends, that became business partners. And that speaks to the quality of this community, the trust that they've built with one another. And it's an awesome, proud story that I'm very, very proud of, that was created through this platform and created through conversations just like this, and created through the podcast that I put out. And those are the types of people and folks that you will meet at ThropX that have the disposable income, and it was 100,000 cash deal, that have the disposable income to do a deal like that, that have, I think more importantly, the mindset and the vision and the progressive thought to see and be a part of this and to work with one another, and those are the quality, that's the type of high quality people that come to ThropX. I think it's a great way. If you can't make it in person, you can always sign up virtually. We'd love to have you. Shauna says, it seems like you are ready and want all the smoke. No, no, I'm just honestly just keeping it a buck today. Like really, really, because like I said, it like really got me upset, that one of my subscribers who is inspired by the content that I create, inspired to move back and inspired to buy into this development only to be screwed over and only to it for it to be turned into a nightmare situation. Completely, completely, completely uncool. And I can't wait, for the person that asked me about naming the name of the developer. I can't wait for that day. I really cannot wait for that day. And I'm not scared to do it. Trust me, I'm not scared to do it. I wish I could say the name right now. The name of it is I can't. I won't. I won't. We're going to be smart. We're going to be strategic. And I can't wait. I can't wait. And Smith says, Throp, this is something that has been going on for a long time. My question is, what is the government doing to stop this injustice to persons just wanting to move back to enjoy their homeland? I think that is a great question. And what I'm going to do before answering that question, we're going to take a quick break because this camera is about to die and I got to get a charger on it. I will be right back.
Welcome to our newly renovated standard rooms, and this is our standard veranda, our balcony, depending on if you're on the first floor or the second floor. It comes with 2 chairs and a table. And this is our double queen room. And as you can see, we have our standard herring artwork on the walls with a accent wall and the wooden bed heads, and each bed has a reading lamp, and those reading lamps have USB type A outlets plus a standard outlet on the wall for you to plug in any electronics that you may have. Rooms also come standard with flat screen television as well as a desk, coffee maker / tea maker that you can use in the mornings if you'd like, and you also have coffee and tea available to you as well. And we also have a mini fridge for your convenience. Of course, we are AC room. This is the tropics, this is Jamaica, but we also have a ceiling fan for you available as well if you prefer, or you want to use both. And moving on to the bathroom area, I just wanted to point out that all of our standard room doors now are using electronic key cards, which we are very happy about and just much more easier to use from a hotel logistics standpoint. Moving into the bathroom, this is probably one of our most proudest renovations. Moving into the shower area, we have the rainfall shower head as well as the handheld shower head. And the designer went into the details of putting the shower together with this color schemes, but also the practicality of it. And I just want to highlight some of those. And one of them being the shower drain, as well as the shower heads, which you saw, which is all complementing each other. And of course, the shower amenities with this shelf for your convenience towards the back of the shower, and even where the shower faucet is, which is towards the back of the shower, which allows you to turn on the shower without getting wet. Moving on to the sink, it's also a black handle sink, which again just complements the design of the entire shower and bathroom, and it's all coordinated even with the room design. And as you can see, we have the towel hooks as well, which I really appreciate. And that in a nutshell is our newly renovated standard room. I hope you enjoyed it. Hello everyone, thanks for joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time, and this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side, and a little bit more privacy as well because we split the balconies. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station. So you have USB and also Type C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room. And I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we inputted, got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. Got the LED frame around the mirror just to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wider angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he...
All right, we are back. Nice little break. Got some Skittles and some water and power to the camera, more importantly. Okay, let's get to some more comments, and I think we're gonna close out soon. We'll see. I got so much work to do. It's not even funny. I need to really get ready for this week. Big week coming up. All right, let's get some questions here. Got these already. Okay, let's go back to Ann's question. Ann Smith says, Throp, this is something that has been going on for a long time. My question is, what is the government doing to stop the injustice to persons who just wanting to move back to enjoy their homeland? Good question. I mean, I personally think there needs to be more done, especially when it comes to the repercussions. And Jamaica does have an active real estate board. And I have seen them hold people's feet to the fire, these developers. And would I like to see more? Yes. But maybe, I don't know. Are these things being reported to the real estate board? I'm not sure. I can't say that it is or isn't. I'm not a investor or homeowner in one of these developments, but I hope those folks, or maybe those folks, are unaware of the real estate board. Excuse me. But they it's an important and it's a strong body. It's the regulatory body of the real estate industry here in Jamaica, and that is where I feel that they can you'll have some sort of recourse, right? And some sort of accountability, these developers going through the real estate board. But it's like one of those things, these are, I mean, I guess they're white collar crimes, right? It's different. It's just like in the United States with like the Bernie Madoffs of the world, and even the banking collapse of 2008. Like, nobody's held accountable, like nobody went to jail for that, and they should have. And SSL, that's another Jamaican black eye, if you will. And it's just like, one person's in jail for it. And I said, sorry to bring up another sore subject, but like when that situation happened, to me, it's all like things happen. And like I said earlier, like no matter what, there are going to be unscrupulous people who are going to be doing criminal activity and scamming activity that we talked about earlier, and then looking to be taking advantage of people. And so it's going to happen, but it's like, how does the government and the powers that be respond when these things happen? That's the most important situation, the most important question that should be answered. And I wish there was more being done. Is my answer. There's not really much I can do to come on here and defend and say like, hey, look, there's accountability here and accountability there. And that's why I said, at least at this current juncture, in this current state, like, you cannot rely on that. You have to take personal responsibility for these transactions and what's going on, because at the end of the day, you are the only one, and the other folks who have invested and homeowners who invested in these developers, you are going to be the one that is going to suffer the consequence at the end of the day. So why not do as much due diligence as humanly possible and understand who is the jockey and who is the team behind this development? Who is the jockey and who is the team behind this investment opportunity? Can they pull it off? Is what they're telling you, does it actually make sense? Are you being sold some sort of pipe dream? And you need to have a conversation with yourself and say, am I being emotionally vested in this opportunity? Am I looking at it in a way that is objective and that is sensical and practical? And it just makes logical sense for me to actually go down this route. And if it's a no, hopefully you can call it and say it's a no, and you can separate your emotions from the actual investment aspect of it. But I always say, just being here in Jamaica is like, in whatever project that you're doing, and I've learned this from doing projects here at the hotel here at Travelers, is like, yes, the foreman has the skill to do the construction and to refurbish a room, or and he has like the plumber, he has the electrician, he has the mason and all this. But at the end of the day, it's my hotel. It's my hotel. Yes, they're the professional. But it's my hotel. And so I have to be there when they're doing the masonry, when they are doing, maybe not binding every piece of rebar, but I have to be there and be above the foreman, because at the end of the day, I'm going to suffer the consequences of this construction project if it's not done the right way. And I could say, hey, I paid you all this money to put these walls up, and this is crooked and that is crooked, that's overpainted, yada, yada, yada. And I could complain until I'm blue in the face. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one to suffer the consequences. It would be so silly of me to sue this guy for the stupid work that he did. But I know how it is down here. So I'm going to make sure I am part of that construction process. I'm going to be there at the front end. And then once I've invested that time in this project and in this team who's doing this construction project for me, when it's over, it's over. Because I don't have to worry about, the walls being unleveled, or the paint being terribly done over the light switches, and the electricity not working, and the water not working as well, because I was part of that process. And so the same thing applies to this in choosing which development that you like to live in or invest in or whatever have you. It's doing the upfront work first, as opposed to dealing with the potential consequences of not doing a lot of homework in the beginning. And you want to get to a point like you front loaded it, or maybe you get to a point where you say, no, this is not for me. No, I do not trust this dude because of XYZ, and you walk away. And that's the greatest thing that you can do. And at least you can move on to the next opportunity and attack it with the same tenacity and the same due diligence that you did with the first one that didn't work out, because there were certain red flags that you just could not get over. And that's okay. And that's great. That really shows investment discipline, that you are looking for certain metrics and certain aspects in a jockey, in a developer, and that person or persons or a group of people did not meet that threshold. And you're moving on to the next one, because there's so many. There's so many. So my point here in this question is, like, irrespective of the accountability, so to speak, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some sort of government oversight accountability or holding these guys accountable, it's not here in a way that I am confident in, at least at its current juncture. And I don't gamble with that, and I wouldn't want to gamble with that, and I don't think you should gamble with it either. Even though, again, by its very nature, this is a gamble. Like, none of this is guaranteed, but do as much due diligence and homework as humanly possible to avoid at least the fundamental mistakes. Like, we can avoid having a bad lawyer, a real estate lawyer. We can avoid that completely because we got the network. I saw somebody ask me, how can I sign up for the newsletter? You can go to thropx.com and sign up. And you want to learn about Throp certified, if you will, Throp certified professionals that I have worked with, that I trust, and that I have recommended some of these people hundreds of times, hundreds of leads, hundreds of recommendations to these professionals that I trust. And then you can avoid this. Architects, same way. We can avoid a bad architect. We can avoid a scamming architect. We can avoid an architect that's going to try to take the shirt off your very back. Easily. And then we'll do a due diligence on the developer. We'll do our due diligence on the jockey, and we'll see. And that's a very personal process, I believe. That's a very personal process that you have to go through and get to a point of comfort. But good lawyer, good architect, we can get those. We can get those for you. That's an email. That's a DM. Even up until this day, I was recommending an architect that's part of my circle. You can avoid those things. That's easily avoidable. That's a fundamental. And again, we want to steer people away from the scammers. And they are scammers. They're scammers to the highest degree. They're the same as the dudes who are picking up the phone and calling the retired folks in the United States and telling them they won the lottery. Same thing. They just have a college degree. Clyde Thompson says, hey, Throp, why sobering words? Reproof is always useful and needed. Keep posting. Thank you for this. You got it, Clive. Appreciate you. Spluffing Bone says, as a Jamaican living in the UK, wanting to return to Jamaica with little or no liquid assets, is a national housing trust a good way to enter the property market? So, yes. I mean, two things. I'm assuming you have a UK salary of some sort, and I don't know if you're of retirement age. So even if you are of retirement age, or you're working and you have your monthly paycheck or whatever it is, when you're coming to Jamaica, for the most part, if you're like coming to Jamaica and you go into a Jamaican institution for a mortgage or a home loan, that's like one of the main things they look at is your monthly cash flow. That's like over everything. That is the most important thing. It's just like, are you earning enough money to be able to sustain the loan over 15, 30 years, X period of time, whatever the terms of the loan are. And that's what the bank wants to see. Yeah, you're filling out tons and tons and tons more paperwork outside of that. But ultimately, it comes down to what is your monthly income, and that is going to determine how much that you're going to receive. And of course, if you have any outstanding debt, like if you have another mortgage or something like that, it's obviously going to lessen the amount of opportunity that you will get to have more leverage for your mortgage. So there's that. The second thing with NHT is you can pay into NHT even if you're not an employee of a Jamaican company that pays into NHT. So in order to qualify for an NHT loan, you have to be paying into NHT for 2 years. And you don't have to live in Jamaica to do that. And it is one of the greatest government Jamaica programs that exists, I'd say, that and especially for people who are living abroad, like you can be living abroad and say your plan is you don't plan on being here for the next 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, 2 years plus, let's say that. You can pay into the National Housing Trust for people who know what that is. You can pay into it while you're abroad. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I don't know how much it is, but you pay into it. And what that gives you, it gives you access to the NHT loan of, don't quote me on this, I think it's 7 point something million per person, I believe. And essentially free money in a sense, very low interest loan that you have the opportunity to do as a Jamaican. And so start paying into it, use it as part of your payment for your home if that's what you want to do and that's what you want to buy into. But I think it's a great program. Mr. Info, Throp, you should start a site called Throp List, like Angie's List in the United States, where contractors and architects are vetted. I've been thinking about it, and I was saying even the same. Like my friend was trying to encourage me to do that with developers, right? And doing some sort of grading system on where they are. But like that could be that could be crazy. That could be crazy, right? I know people are not going to like that. So, but I think the contractors aspect, I think that's fair. And even doing like some sort of rating system, because there are great, amazing contract workers out here. Great. I always say, I can speak to here in the West and Westmoreland, we have great carpenters, amazing, amazing carpenters. And I think that's one of the best things that I really do like about Jamaica is that if I need like wood paneling, I need a desk, I need a chair, I don't have to go to Home Depot, or I can just call somebody up and then they can make it for me. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's one of the greatest advantages of being out here. But good idea. Only Me MOK says, what is the newsletter information? Thropx.com. Sign up for the newsletter. And thropx.com or thropmedia.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. We'll be sending it out again, I think on Thursday or Friday. I can't remember. But we're back to weekly. Anik Dion says, I'm really interested in ThropX. My interest is in investing in both a personal real estate and business opportunities to create generational wealth for my stepson. Again, I think on both of those things that you're looking to achieve, we'll start with the last one first. Network, great network of people who are interested in, you'll have a network of people who are interested in investing in a business and wanting to be a part of it. Maybe not necessarily want to be an operator, but there are folks who also want to start up a business, and there are so many great business ideas that come from ThropX. And I think there are a lot of great business needs, brick and mortar business needs that are going to be coming on stream as Negril continues to develop. And I think it's going to be we're going to get into a rapid development phase sooner than most people think. Investing in personal real estate. This year, we're actually doing, well, you got the 2 days of education. We got 1 full day dedicated to real estate education. And that's always a hit. But this year, we're doing 2 days of real estate tours. So we're doing 1 day that is commercial real estate and 1 day that is residential real estate. And that's just giving us just the time that we need to spend at these real estate opportunities. And also, folks, there may be folks like, hey, I'm not interested in buying commercial. I'm only interested in a residential, and I just want to buy a home, and I just want to move here, and I just want to see what's out there. We got that, and you just only got to come for one of those days. And so this year, we're almost getting even more focused on real estate because I'm seeing and feeling the demand, and we've extended the ThropX one extra day because of that. And if you want to know more about ThropX, it's my Jamaica investment conference that I host every year in November. You can go to thropx.com, find out more information on the conference, and sign up for the newsletter. Like I've been saying, our newsletter is going out every week, and we'd love to send you that free information and free knowledge, especially when it comes to professional contractors that you can work with for your own project or whatever it is that you're doing. Alfonso Worth, what's going on, man? I think the Pinnacle development will set a new standard in Jamaica and will reinforce the integrity and belief in many local and international investors eyeing Jamaica. 100%. 100%. I know this kind of is like an overused term, but that thing is a game changer. That thing is a game changer in so many ways. In so many ways. When it's complete in 3-4 years, whatever it is, and it probably will happen before it's complete. There are some people that just they need to see the thing before they believe in the thing, and I'm not one of those people. I can see it before it happens. I don't need and I'm seeing it with the Pinnacle. Like when that thing finishes, you're getting, I won't say you will be at the point that it's too late, but you're getting to the point that it's too late. You're at that point where, and I hope when that thing is finished, like people will say, okay, this is crazy time here in Jamaica, but we'll see. Maybe some people still won't believe in Jamaica and still won't see what's happening, but there's so many developments that are coming, especially in the hospitality industry. And then also these luxury residential developments that are happening. I mean, I hope folks are seeing the writing on the wall like never before. Excuse me. And Smith says, "Where's this White House Beach Club located?" It's in White House in, is that Westmoreland? White House, Westmoreland. Trevor Black says White House Beach Club is a never-ending building site. So many empty lots. Unfortunately, yeah. A Xander says, this is always someone looking somewhere else. There is problems everywhere. Let's solve our own problems. Agreed. Vivian Harriet says, what about Suncoast? I've seen a couple people ask about Suncoast. I'm not sure. I haven't heard or haven't gotten any updates on Suncoast, but that's a good question. I want to see where they're at. I know Kevin he's running for something. I don't even know what it is. Is it MP? But he's gotten into the politics game recently, but I'm not sure where the development is. And Smith says, Throp, tell me more about Richmond Cousins Cove. I hear this development is coming to Negril. Yes, they had what is it, like a community meeting a few months ago talking about it. And as far as I know, that thing is still on board to come to Negril, which is it's like for those who know, like a Richmond estate, they're doing a version of it out here, which I think is going to be great because we have an inventory problem here in Negril. Like we do not have enough housing, and I think that is going to be a real help, a real big help in the housing situation here in Negril. Alfonso West, 9 million now. Thank you. So this NHT get up to 9 million per individual. That's incredible. Really great. All right. I think we are going to. Oh, somebody asked me for the link. All right, hold on. Here's the link. That's the ThropX link right there in the comment section. And you can go there, get more information, sign up for the newsletter, which I definitely think is A smart move, honestly. It's free information. It's free information that can help you avoid some real silliness, some real silliness. All right. I think, hold on, last few comments here. Throp, please give some representing the real estate board on your panel at the ThropX 2025. Yeah, we had somebody on the board from the real estate board last year. I'll do my best to get somebody from the real estate board. I think that's a good idea to have them come back this year, and we'd love to have them. But we had somebody from the real estate board last year, and we'll try to get them on again this year. Caller Jay says, you are bringing great insight and awareness. I too want to buy property in Jamaica, but cautious. Yes, be cautious. Be cautious. And yes, buy property in Jamaica. I think it's a great idea. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there. We're at 2 hours. Like I said, I got a big week ahead, and got to start preparing. Thank you all for joining me here today on this Sunday. We'll be back. I know the Throppers Think Tank group, I'm sorry I had to push off our meeting yesterday, but we will be back next Saturday. We'll have a Throppers Think Tank. We'll have a Throppers Think Tank next Saturday, 12 p.m. Jamaica time. If you want to join, it's a private Patreon group where we do a Zoom call. You can sign up at patreon.com/Throp. We'd love to have you be a part of that Zoom call, and you get me not one-on-one, but like just a small group of us talking and riffing and learning from each other, which I really, really do enjoy, and I'm happy I'm able to do that every month. So that's patreon.com/Throp. We'll be back next Sunday, same time. We're also doing, I should be preparing for this. Next Sunday, we're doing a live stream with Maura Watson on the Four Z's Villa, which if you're part of the newsletter, you already saw that. We did an awesome video on it. And so we're going to be doing the premiere of that video next Sunday. And then after the premiere of that video, we'll be going right into a live stream with Maura talking about the villa that she's selling. So would love to have you on, and it should be a fun one. That should be a fun one. I can't wait to show you this video. I'm going to send it out. If you're a Patreon member, you'll probably get it early this week, so you can take a look, and it should be fun. It should be fun. I'm actually really looking forward to this. I think you guys are going to like it. Anyway, wishing you folks a great week ahead. For those that have work, like myself, I wish you a good work week, and I will see you all next Sunday. Have a great one, everyone. Peace.
Welcome to our newly renovated standard rooms, and this is our standard veranda, our balcony, depending on if you're on the first floor or the second floor. It comes with 2 chairs and a table. And this is our double queen room. And as you can see, we have our standard herring artwork on the walls with a accent wall and the wooden bed heads, and each bed has a reading lamp, and those reading lamps have USB type A outlets plus a standard outlet on the wall for you to plug in any electronics that you may have. Rooms also come standard with a flat screen television, as well as a desk, coffee maker / tea maker that you can use in the mornings if you'd like, and you also have coffee and tea available to you as well. And we also have a mini fridge for your convenience. Of course, we are AC room. This is the tropics. This is Jamaica, but we also have a ceiling fan for you available as well if you prefer, or you want to use both. And moving on to the bathroom area, I just wanted to point out that all of our standard room doors now are using electronic key cards, which we are very happy about, and just much more easier to use from a hotel logistics standpoint. Moving into the bathroom, this is probably one of our most proudest renovations. Moving into the shower area, we have the rainfall shower head as well as the handheld shower head. And the designer went into the details of putting the shower together with this color schemes, but also the practicality of it. And I just want to highlight some of those, and one of them being the shower drain, as well as the shower heads, which you saw, which is all complementing each other. And of course, the shower amenities with this shelf for your convenience towards the back of the shower, and even where the shower faucet is, which is towards the back of the shower, which allows you to turn on the shower without getting wet. Moving on to the sink, it's also a black handle sink, which again just complements the design of the entire shower and bathroom, and it's all coordinated even with the room design. And as you can see, we have the towel hooks as well, which I really appreciate. And that in a nutshell is our newly renovated standard room. I hope you enjoyed it.